Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM22 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. We're back today for part 17 and it is a very, very big episode for our Director of Football, Ben Williams. We reached the end of August and he has done nothing, as the title suggests. I've sat patiently for 5 weeks and waited. No offers went in until yesterday. But the player he's put an offer in for, as good as they may be, is not in a position we need. So unless this is a very busy deadline day, we're going to have a threadbare squad, we're going to be reliant on youth, and I'm going to be looking for a way out of Cefn Druids. We've had a fortunate start to the season, which means we are still competing, but next month is an awful lot tougher, as you can see from the top right of the screen. And if we haven't got some reinforcements with the injuries we've had, with the lack of fitness we've got in some players in the squad, we're really going to struggle. So if you're looking forward to finding out how we get on, we'll reflect on our final Europa Conference qualifier as well. Please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content from 2 long-term stories. We're on the double upload schedule till the end of this week. Then we're back to 1 a day at 3:30 next week. Although FM22 mobile's round the corner. So get that notification bell on and keep your eyes peeled for that. There's a link in the eye above to anything you've missed, the Data Hub special, the Twitch channel for regular live streams and much more. But I've got to be honest with you, we've spent the last year and a half praising Ben Williams. A lot of you guys in the comments the last few episodes, should he be Sir Ben? Is he better than Pat? Is he ruining his legacy? Well, Ben Williams might ruin his own legacy today, because this summer has been infuriating. We have reached the 1st of September. It is deadline day, but of course, we're in a slightly smaller Nations League, so we're not getting the big furore and the media coverage and all of that. We did get some players in the team in a month, which is great. Coley, the keeper, and Cassidy, the striker. Oh, and Ian Rees, who's been covering on the left wing. We'll look at why in a minute. But if we go to the transfers and the history, we have still only signed 1 player all summer, despite losing 7 that were part of the first team squad, either as starters or in the backup 11 last year. That is awful. We've got 4 or 5 squad gaps to fill. Okay, Ian Rees promoted from the youth team probably does one. But the problem is, the player that a bid went in for, and it only went in yesterday, or the day before, sorry, if I show you the 30th of August, is Sam Jones. One is a 31-year-old, but secondly, he's a striker, where with Cassidy and Roberts, we've actually got a decent duo. However, it is an improvement to the team, so I'm not going to complain. Jones is actually 6'2". He's decent in the air. He's okay on the floor, and he's not too bad physically. Doesn't work very hard, which really worries me. But he has got a good history in the English non-league game, so I'm sure he'll be a decent player. Can also play number 10 if we want to experiment with that. But my big problem at the minute is that all of those positions we need someone, there's no sign. And we've also got another problem this year. If I take you to the medical centre, we've got David Evans and Charlie Edge, who are both very injury prone on the left-hand side. So having lost Joe Stanton to Bangor City, our FM21 club, we're now in a big bit of trouble because we've had to play Ian Rees left wing most of the games and Rio Dyer on the right. But that then takes away our backup on the right because the youngster who was there last year has now left the club, as has Adrian Cieslewicz. So we're potentially at real crisis point with the squad this season. However, we've still started the year pretty well. You were with me for that first leg against Kairat in the Europa Conference where we really struggled at home. Well, we struggled even more on the road. They won 5-0 against us, and you can probably see in the final half an hour, we just really ran out of steam. In the end, they were able to walk through us. It finished 7-0 on aggregate. To compound the misery, that's where Charlie Edge got his knock. I think he only came back against Barla. May have been Flint Town if I'm wrong. But domestically, we've played 4 really poor sides so far. Barlow were mid-table last year, Pennybont and Flint Town were thoroughly in the bottom half, and Prestatyn got relegated, who we faced in the Cup. So Prestatyn was a pretty friendly start in the League Cup. We got Cassidy and Malone with first half goals, which meant we were just able to rest a few a bit later on. Away at Pennybont, that's where Dave Evans, the backup left winger, got his injury. But thankfully for us, Macaulay Power flew into a challenge by the corner flag right at the start of the second half. As a result, we were able to push forward, get on top, and Cassidy and Mark nicked 1 goal apiece. The only negative so far this season, Nick Roberts has started really badly. So that might be something we have to think about later. Maybe Sam Jones can be that solution. Against Flint Town, it was Jake Cassidy again doing the saving grace at the front 2. Ian Rees, the youngster, got a goal. He's been playing really well, considering he's been out of position too. I feel like he's going to be a great youngster through the squad, but Most of them, probably 3/4 or so, when they're signed to professional terms at 17, are being given amateur contracts. And we've seen the professional clubs, even in the lower tiers, are able to drag them away. The likes of Bangor City being a key example. So we saw that against Flint Town. I don't think, no, Charlie Edge wasn't back then. Against Barla, though, he did make his comeback. And boy, do we know it. 2 goals for him. He got a rest late on as well. Jake Cassidy had opened the scoring. But what that means going into September, not only is it a better quality of opposition, away to Aberystwyth tomorrow, home to TNS, away to Connors Quay, away to Barrytown United, it's the fact that we've also got multiple midweek games. So we're trying to squeeze 7 games into essentially 4 weeks and 1 day, which is going to make this a very important spell for us. And we are desperately going to need Ben Williams to add to this squad today. He's got plenty to work with. If we look at the transfer budget, he's got £1.5 a week of wages, 25 grand a transfer budget, and he's only offering Sam Jones £200 a week. So I'm expecting fireworks today. I'm expecting him to be busy. He's not left it till the last minute for a long time, but he's still got 15 hours to redeem himself. Let's skip ahead and see if he can. We'll be back with news as it comes. Well, the social feed, in addition to talk about the Luton takeover being close, has got a couple of fans that are talking absolute sense. Darcy Enoch, we have to do some business. Henry Twist, we need a lot of signings. You know your football people. Let's see if we've got any news so far. We've got one. My problem is, it's 1 PM and he's not put another offer in. This is going to be really disappointing, isn't it? Having said that, the 2 players that have come in this summer are very good. It's just not enough. We of course have this situation in Wales where there's a domestic loan window as well. That opens on the 11th of September. So unless he's planning to raid TNS for people on loan, I don't know. But Sam Jones, by far the best striker at the club on paper, just losing that pace a little bit. But his best 2 roles are the 2 roles we use. So I don't think we've got any reason to complain, have we? 3.5-star ability. Let's get him registered for the squad. He is going to add a 17th name to that list. And we are also going to get Peters to try and welcome him, because we want everyone to be part of a tight-knit group. 11 hours to go. Ben, you better put some offers in, son, because you are going to be very unpopular if you don't do something very soon. Right, 5:30 PM. Time is running out. However, there is a loan offer for a player which has been accepted. I'm guessing this is going to be a player from the English or Scottish leagues, because if it was the Welsh League, they could wait for the domestic window. Why would they rush it through now? Let's have a look. Cefn Druids going for Swansea's Josh Carey. Okay. He earns £375 a week, is worth potentially 85 grand. This could be promising. What is he? He's a midfielder, a centre midfielder. Well, at the moment, we're relying on Yolani Bayo or Guindo, so I'd say it's one of the most important positions to improve. Please don't be a disappointment. Oh, he might pull it out the bag again, you guys. Josh Carey, 4-star ability, good passer of the ball. Yes, this is the type of player we want. Yes, he's not great off the ball. Yes, he's not brilliant going forward, finishing, etc. But if we can get him in as that deep-lying playmaker, which he's got the ability to do, he's a natural left-footer on that side as well. It means we can release Malone as the box-to-box, and in Doe and Bayo, we've got a natural backup for both, as well as Bayo being a utility right-back. If this deal comes off, £325 a week, I'd say it's a bit much for the quality, but he would add to our squad hugely. So yes, Ben Williams, get it done, and give us one more, and you might have redeemed yourself. Let's go and skip ahead. 6.5 hours remaining here in the Welsh transfer window. 7 PM. Not only is the deal done for Josh Carey, who has come in to be a starting centre midfielder for us. You can see only Malone is better, and Bayo now a good backup across multiple positions. So let's get him welcomed by Jacob Lever. But that's not all. There is an offer made for Godden. He is really going for it now, Ben Williams. Why did you leave it so late, pal? But you might save the date. What is he like? Please be. What do we need most? I would say probably a left back or left winger that can play both. That would be ideal. We could still do with maybe one defensive cover option, or even another striker if he doesn't fancy the ones we've got. Let's see what it is. Please be someone who can cover the left side. Oh, you are reading my mind, Ben Williams. I like this version of him. 2.5-star ability, free agent, so doesn't have to be wrapped up by midnight. Looks a good player. Looks like a solid backup. And even if he can provide cover, is what we need. As you can see, he's identified that. Could provide cover in a fullback role. Big potential. What's he like now, though? That's when we need him. Okay, I can live with that. The natural left back can also cover accomplished at centre half, but 5'7" and 5 for jumping, I don't fancy that. However, decent tackler, decent pace, pretty good marking, positioning's alright, decision making's very good for a young player. Certainly be a solid left back, released by Leeds in the summer. Oh, Ben Williams, you've teased me. You've made me call you rubbish after 5 weeks of nonsense, and you might be delivering. Can we get it done in time? If so, that is a really good deadline day. Wrapped up within 45 minutes, no wage as well. He's got him on amateur terms, I think. That's fantastic news, because then we don't have that big expense to the wage bill. So he's actually managing things quite well financially as well. You've got to give him props. He's a natural backup for Peters. He's actually as good as Peters with bigger potential. They've got a very similar attribute profile, funnily enough. But I'm happy with that. We've now got 2 good left backs. Look, I'm getting greedy now. The only thing that can make it better is if we've got someone who's not injury prone on the left wing. But at the worst case scenario, both Reece and Dyer can play there a little, as can Josh Carey. So with 4 hours and 15 minutes to go, I'm probably not expecting anything else. But it would be lovely if Ben could put himself in the God tier status, wouldn't it? Let's see if he can do it. Well, 9:15 and nothing other than a training week review. So I think that is going to be it. We'll go and praise Naylor. We'll go and criticise Doe. But with 2 3/4 hours to go, he left it late. He made me doubt him again. But Ben Williams, to be fair to him, has absolutely delivered today. And there is confirmation that the transfer window is closed in Wales. But that was a brilliant deadline day. Everything that we didn't get in January in terms of last minute action, deals been done in the 11th hour, has happened today. What I don't really get is why a lone player from Swansea and perhaps even a free agent backup left back couldn't have come in earlier in the window. But we're not going to complain now. We got what we needed and I am absolutely thrilled. Josh Carey doesn't need to be registered, neither does Scott Godden. But for now, that is a deadline day to remember. We got in 3 crucial signings, 3 players we need. And to be fair, the first 3 of those 4 signings this summer are massive improvements to the team. Rio Dyer, I know he's not really ignited yet. He's had a couple of decent games. He is far better than Cieslewicz was last year. He's definitely one of the best permanent players we've ever owned. And you can see he's got a big contract, 2 seasons. He's worth $2.5 grand. He's actually got a transfer value. That one's a really good deal at 19. Sam Jones, the opposite end. Experience, covering either forward role, can probably come in and start in either of them as well. I feel that's a good addition, albeit one we perhaps didn't need. Josh Carey, one we very much did need. A big wage contribution, but only for 1 year. It's a loan deal. It's a player who's great on the ball. And he's got the physical attributes where he's not going to be considered lightweight. And actually, look, he's 6'5" and his jumping reach is 16. I didn't notice that last time in my excitement. So as well as being a good footballer, he's going to be one hell of a threat from set pieces. And I'm probably going to have to adjust to get him in the box because we never did that with Malone. We never got to do that with Guindo or any of the others in that position. But he, although not directing the header, he's going to win most of them. That is a massive addition. Maybe we'll concede a few less from set pieces too. And then finally, Scott Godden completes the job in the squad. Very much the opposite in terms of height, but a good solid backup left back. And just gives us an extra option in the squad. I cannot complain at that day. I can complain that the window took so long to ignite. But Ben Williams, I tip my hat. You've delivered again and you've given us a chance to compete. So Cefn Druids is a place we're very happy to be at the moment. We come up next against Aberystwyth. We'll be back in a minute for that one. But what a month we've got in store. And now, I really feel we can give it a go. Well, we're back for kickoff time. But in even better news, we might now have a title chance. Because TNS, they've improved their squad massively. You can see they did loads of work on deadline day and throughout the window. But one of the players they signed on deadline day in their blind panic was goalkeeper Stuart Moore. Now, it says he's going to be a backup. I hope for their sake that is the case, because he is a goalkeeper that loves to play a bit of drop seat. You might find him back at Luton 16-17. Go and watch the playoff semi-final against Blackpool, see what I mean. Let's go and get into our game though, a big one at Aberystwyth. A team we've struggled against at times, particularly away from home in this save. But they are a side that will be looking to get back in the top half this year. I think with other teams losing their stars, with Aberystwyth having solid windows, you can see some familiar names in there. Dan Summerfield, Dylan Reese, players that we've managed here or before. They, of course, nicked Hao Chi Hin off us as well. So they are a decent side. And I wonder if he'll come up against us today. We're not worrying about that, though. Let's pick our lineup. Are any of the new boys going to get in a team? The very simple answer to that question is yes, they are, as long as they're fit. So Gwindo is going to be replaced. He's been the worst trainer of the week as well, so he can't complain, by Josh Carey. Not 100% fit, but we've got a week off after this, so it does suggest that he's a little injury prone, though. That could be a concern. Monk will be replaced on the bench by Gwindo. We're going to put Godden on the bench, I think, for the backup keeper, Absalom. And we're also going to bring in Sam Jones. I think I'm going to bring him in for Nick Roberts, because Roberts has played really poorly in recent weeks. His injury susceptibility is high. So let's start Sam Jones. Roberts on the bench for Nichols, who will, I'm afraid, probably drop down to the under-19s again now, because we want him to get football, not just sit on our bench. So down he goes. It's close between him and Marr. But he's the younger one. He can play football at a different level. And Christian Marr is the one scoring goals at the minute. So that's the squad we're going to go for. We've got Ben Coley in goal. Peters and Lewis the fullbacks, with Lever and Edwards at centre-half. We've got Dyer and Edge the wingers, and Carey and Malone making up the rest of the midfield four. And then Sam Jones in for a debut alongside Jake Cassidy. Cassidy's in the goals this year. Nick Roberts, last season's top scorer, is waiting in the wings. It's a good position to be in. We've got Yolani Bayo on the bench for depth. We've actually got 3 or 4 senior players there. We've also got a lot of great youngsters. Let's see who can deliver tonight. Please, after a great deadline day, let this episode finish in style. And here is that Aberystwyth team. They've changed goalkeepers. That was one of the players signed in the window. So old lead Morgan goes out. Dylan Reese comes into the team as well. No place in the squad for Dan Summerfield, who was a former backup player for us. Suggests the strength they might have here. And they've still got the likes of Glean, Veal and Owen Jones, who have all caused us problems before. So let's go and head into the first half. I'm expecting a very close game. But the way we're playing at the moment, and now with the added quality we've put into this side, thanks to Ben Williams, I think we've got a chance, as it's a free kick with Charlie Edge early doors. Malone off the post. It's a free kick for offside. I'll put both midfielders in the box from set pieces. I don't know if it's going to work out though, as Edge shoots, tipped wide by Bort. Really good start, creating chances. Can we make them count here? You can see Carey there, number 8. He is on the edge of the box, ready to make the run. Rio Dyer's the man who's up though. It's just over the bar. We're creating loads of chances. But we've not been able to take one just yet. Aberystwyth 0, Cefn Druids 0. And now the hosts have got a corner to the back post. Not dealt with well. That's not the type of goal you want to concede, because as we mentioned, we've got height at the back. We should be dealing with that. Keeper got caught in no man's land. It is the only slight weakness really to his game. And with 15 gone, despite playing pretty well, we find ourselves 1-0 behind. Not a positive start. Well, all the domination on the stats, all the excitement from deadline day, and we find ourselves 1-0 down in first half stoppage time. And it could get worse, because Aberystwyth are peppering our box at the minute. Show next to nothing in this game. And we're having one of those, aren't we? Coley lets one. It goes through a couple of bodies, but it also goes through him. And in a game where Aberystwyth have had 2 shots on target and we've dominated the rest, we're 2-0 down, and it's just one of those that separates us from TNS. So we're going to throw the water bottle, tell them to stop letting themselves down. The half-time team talk hasn't worked. The lads are really unsettled. And I'm not sure what we can do to rectify this, because it's been by far our worst performance. And maybe it's the new faces coming in, as Lewis gives it to Dyer. Back to Lewis, who loses it to Glean out there. They're the sort of 50-50s we never really lose. And our way comes Jones. We always struggle at Aberystwyth, don't we? As Lever gives it to Carey. Up to Cassidy. Tries to find Jones, gives it away. Malone can't win it back. This is very frustrating to watch, because if anything, we've got worse after half-time. Carey now looks knackered as Jones gives it back to Dylan Reese. He can cut inside, but instead goes down the line to Owen Jones. Not scored against us yet, he normally does. Jones up towards Glean, Lewis heads clear. But we've got nothing. We've got nothing to show at the minute. I'm going to shout at the lads. I'm going to encourage them, because we need to get into this game. Bollard turns. We don't even get the chance to see the effects. That is class. Brings it down on his chest, spins the defender, and from 25 yards has bolted it into the top corner. What a disaster. After probably the best day of the save in terms of transfers, additions, and excitement, we've got one of the worst, and we've not even been outplayed. I'm going to swap Jones to the target man, bring Nick Roberts on up front. We might as well go attack him. I'll give it 10 more minutes before we make the final sub, but it doesn't look like we're going to get anything from this. It's one of those games, isn't it? Aberystwyth, 3 shots on target, 3 goals. They've done nothing else in the game other than score rockets. And that silly goal we conceded from a set piece at the start, maybe the one that cost us. I'm going to bring on young Ian Reese on the right hand side because Rio Dyer was knackered. Now let's see if we can stage a fight back as Reese goes wide. Lewis crosses, Sam Jones is up. Chance to score his first goal for the club. He's not match fit and he heads that one wide. You have to feel when fully fit, he might have done something with that. And look at Aberystwyth's expected goals, 0.5. Most of that came from the header for the first goal. And then they've scored 2 screamers. There's not a huge amount you can do. I know it's easy to overreact and say we're losing 3-0 to a side that struggled last year. But it does feel like just one of those games, doesn't it? Roberts puts another chance wide at the post. Him being out of form is making a big difference. A disappointing end to what has otherwise been a brilliant episode. I'm not going to panic on it. It was an okay performance. We've got to sort out the defensive set pieces. We've got to tell the lads we're not happy at all. But unfortunately, the result is what counts. And as we get through the tunnel interview post-match, we've got TNS next week. And if we lose that, back-to-back defeats for the first time in a long time, we could be in a spot of bother. Certainly confidence and momentum-wise. And both TNS, Connors Quay and Barrytown United yesterday all won in midweek. It's going to be a lot tighter at the top this season. We mentioned the fact that TNS had given some players to Connors Quay. They also got one from Bristol City, one of the starters from Cardiff Met Uni, and Declan Weeks, who is a well-known name in the English game. Very good player. So I'd argue that Connors Quay have strengthened as much as anyone this window. For Levy on loan from TNS is a great deal. Then we've got the likes of Aberystwyth improving. Barrytown United improving as well. They're starting to really believe and push through the league. Harry Clifton, a player we've had in the English game, is a very good one as well. And then Will Richards, not sure about him so much. Experienced defender, who I'm sure will do a solid job. So lots of the other sides in the top half improving. It is going to be a difficult season. But I'm hoping, with the fact that Roberts is in a goal drought which won't last forever, the fact that we've also managed in Europe, our reputation has very slightly increased, up to the best part of 1 star now. Some of our attributes improving a little bit too. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to get exposure outside of Wales, or maybe even from one of those Welsh clubs in the English pyramid. We'll wait and see if all of that happens though. Let's have a look at the schedule for when we're next going to be back. To be honest, the bit that suits me at the moment, I think is probably Barry and Cardiff Met Uni. Because this followed by TNS is the start of a very difficult run. And then we'll see what position we're in at the end of the month and play 2 very difficult games. The fixtures are a little thin on the ground in October and November, especially if we're not still in the cups. So unless we get something in one of those competitions that makes us change our mind, we should. Should we not be in the SPFL Trust Trophy this year? I feel like we should, but we'll wait and see if that occurs. For now though, the plan is Barry and Cardiff Met Uni. If you did enjoy this episode though, a very mixed bag on and off the pitch, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know what you think of Ben Williams. I slated him for the first few minutes, but redemption has come, hasn't it? You can't argue with what he did on deadline day. But why did he leave it so late? That's what I want to know after the last few windows. Let me know what you thought of the performance as well. I don't think it's anything to panic about. We're a semi-pro side. We're probably going to have odd matches like that. If you want to stay up to date, subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. Up to tomorrow, we're on the beta schedule. 3:30 for this series, 11:30 for Hemel Hempstead. And then from Monday, the 2 series will rotate at 3:30 each day, with some FM mobile episodes coming at 11:30 from Tuesday. So keep your eyes peeled for those. You can catch up with the rest up in the eye above from all of the playlists, our Twitch channel for regular FM live streams too. But a massive thank you for watching, your continued support with the series. It is greatly appreciated. We've got the tools to work with now. Ben Williams has finally delivered. If we can get them fit before the next episode, it might be another very good season.